a quick, like 30 minutes. And so I thought I would jump on here and chat a bit and see what's going on. I actually meant to post this as a video, I don't know, a few days ago, but didn't work out. So I thought, hey, it'd be more fun to just do it as a live. That way, if anybody has any questions, I can maybe answer them as I go. One of the things I wanted to talk about was because I know I'm not all the way done with my decluttering journey yet, clearly, but one of the things I wanted to talk about was the 5 things so far that I regret on this journey. So, give me a hi, give me a wave. Hey. So one of the things, probably like the number one thing that I regret on this decluttering journey so far is not finishing a room completely before moving to a different room. So, in my haste to do this, what I did was I said, I'm going to declutter my house. I'm tired of all the junk. I'm just getting rid of it. Just, it's out of here, right? Um, I didn't stop to put together a good process. Now, if you know someone with ADHD, such as myself, you'll know that planning is maybe not our strongest skill. We literally get an idea and we run with it. Like, hey, I got this great idea. Let me go do this. Um, Probably should have thought this one through a bit more. One of the things that I just started doing was I was like, okay, first I'm gonna do the laundry room, gonna get that out of the way, and the dining room and the hallway. And if there's a mess, I'm just gonna clean it up and declutter, get it all out. But by not finishing the rooms completely that I was in, I have actually left myself more work. Now, certainly, there is less clutter in those rooms. Absolutely. And the rooms look good on the surface. But what I did was check out I put the things that were staying in the house in the rooms where they go, but I didn't declutter them. But I did declutter a lot of other things. But I delayed a lot of decisions because in that moment, I just couldn't make a decision right then. I just noticed my plant back there looks like it needs some water. Oof, sorry, got distracted by the plant. Anyway, I made a lot of decisions in haste, for one, and I delayed a lot of decisions because I didn't want to make those hard decisions right then. But what that meant was, because I delayed all of those decisions, was that at some point I was going to have to pay the piper and make those hard decisions all at once. And that turned out to be not my best idea because I hadn't built up my decluttering muscle yet. By the time I got to all of those hard decisions, it had to be done all at once. Because, as you know, I had piled everything that I wasn't sure if I was going to get rid of yet or not in my guest bedroom, which is where we are now. See, still looks good. But yeah, I had to deal with a lot. So that is probably the number one thing that I wish I had done differently in the beginning, was to take care of those decisions immediately and just kind of build up that declutter muscle. And that goes along with the second thing, delaying the hard choices. When I didn't make those hard choices in the beginning, that meant I had to make them all at once. And that kind of sent me into a tailspin. I didn't think it was going to. I thought, oh, by the time I get to the guest room, I'll be a pro at decluttering. Okay, I didn't really think that, but I think somewhere in the back of my mind, I thought by the time I got to this area, it would just be a lot easier because I had done so many other areas. But I didn't realize the emotional baggage that was going along with so many of those things. So, for instance, and when I say emotional baggage, I don't necessarily mean negative or positive. I mean, just in general, I had emotional ties to things I didn't realize I had. So, for instance, the diaper basket. Everybody probably, if you've seen that video, you saw me have a really hard time with that. And there are still some days, this is not even in the house anymore. There's still some days I still like, oh gosh, I had a hard time with that. But you know what? I'm better because I did move it on. It's new home and everything. But yeah, I wish I had taken a bit more time to process my feelings and make those decisions in the moment instead of piling them up. Which goes along with number three, not thinking through what I was keeping to make sure it really fit our needs. Now, if you see me looking over, I've got my notes over here on my computer. So one of the things that I should have been asking myself is, do I use it? And I mean, this one should have been a no-brainer. Like, if you don't use it, go away, right? But I grew up with the mentality, like from my grandpa had this mentality. My parents to some extent, but not a bunch. But I kind of grew up in the atmosphere of, we better hang on to this because you never know when we might use it. Now, in my decluttering process, I found I'd been hanging on to RCA cables. I literally have nothing that uses RCA cables. I'm not even sure anything actually uses RCA cables anymore. Maybe something does, but certainly nothing I own. So why am I holding on to this? It just didn't make sense. But at the time, I know I put it in our cables box because I might need this. So what I've kind of had to do is step back and go, wait, do I actually own anything that uses this? And if I don't own something that uses it, but at some point I might need it, is it going to cost a lot to replace? I mean, can I buy it if I need it in the future for like 10 or $20? If so, yeah, heck yeah, I'm getting that out of my house. And if and when the need might arise, and for RCA cables probably won't, but if and when the need might arise, I will buy them. I just don't really foresee that. And that kind of goes along with, do I need to have more than one item? And my kitchen is a great example of this. We are not an entertaining family. We don't have big family dinners where everybody comes over and we celebrate whatever. We just don't do that. I mean, sometimes we'll have like birthday parties, but that's, cake and little plastic plates. And so why do I need 12 cake servers? Or why do I need 3 sets of glass measuring cups? Or, stainless steel serving platters? I don't use those things. Like, they were literally just stacked in a cabinet and I didn't use them. And even when I was decluttering the kitchen, I still didn't get rid of all of those things. In fact, it hasn't been until about the last 2 weeks that I have started a box where I've just been putting stuff in, where if I'm not using it, or if I haven't used it, or if I have something that, if it's a multiple of something, like I didn't really need 2 of those. I don't even know what they're called. The little lemony squeezers where you juice your I buy jarred lemon juice. It is so rare that I am going to need to hand squeeze a lemon. I certainly didn't need 2 of them. I did keep one just in case. I know I just said I wasn't going to do that, but just in case the need arises, I did keep one lemon squeezy thing. I don't know what those are called. But the others got away. I had 4 chef's knives. Why did I have 4 chef's knives? I can tell you the mentality behind this one. I don't like to do dishes. So the more dishes I had, the less I had to do dishes. But guess what? When I did have to do dishes, well, look, you guys have seen my kitchen videos, right? You know my kitchen gets wrecked quickly. So one of the things that I have done to make our life better in our kitchen, we now own 4 plates, 4 bowls, 4 dessert plates. That's it. I got rid of the huge platters and plates and all of that because we don't use them. And we have been running with this now for 3 weeks. And guys, my kitchen has never been cleaner. And you know why? I have to do the dishes. If we want to eat at our next meal, I gotta clean those 4 plates. It has been amazing, Anna. I'm telling you, it has been awesome. And by the way, hi. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that change. And another thing we did was we went down, I bought a set of actual glasses instead of having a mix match of plastic cups. Now, for my kiddo, we do still have plastic cups because he's not always steady enough to use glass. But instead of having a mix match of just random cups and stuff like that, um, I went out and I spent $8 at Walmart. The cheapest glasses ever, but I love them. They're fantastic. Also, on the set of plates, side note, Walmart has a set of white plates, dinner plates, dessert plates, and bowls, $10. Guys, these things are fantastic. I loved them. I spent $10 on a new set of dishes, and it has completely changed how my kitchen runs, and I love it because I don't have the dishes to pile up next to the sink now because I just simply don't own that many dishes. But like I said, we don't entertain. And should we ever have a big party or a big family gathering, for that one gathering, I'm going to give myself the gift of the really fancy plastic dinnerware and plastic silverware and the really swanky plastic cups, because I'm not entertaining enough ever, and I don't have family over enough, like ever, to warrant keeping all of these items that then I have to keep dusted and cleaned and polished and just, oh, look, I'm lazy. I'm going to be honest. I'm lazy. I don't want to do all of that. Yes, the fine china. That is what we call it in my family too, the fine china, because it is. They make some of the fanciest looking plastic plates now. Love it. So, another thing, speaking of this, that I have done is I've asked myself the question, do I have something that can take its place? Now, I can't take credit for this question. This question actually came from Joshua Becker. I believe it was Joshua Becker who did a video on this. And I saw it, I don't know, at some point it stuck in my brain. And what I did was I've started looking at things going, what do I already have that can do double duty? Okay, so if potato masher, for example, I had two potato mashers, like two. I generally, I mean, maybe sometimes I'll use a potato masher. I kept one. I put the other in the to-go box. To-go box. I'm going to call it that now. The to-go box. It's getting out of my house. It's to go. I kept one potato masher for when I'm teaching my kiddo to cook. That's probably going to be a good thing to start off with. But I usually mash my potatoes, honestly, with a fork because my potatoes are just, man, that's what I do. I fluff them with a fork. I mash them with a fork. Again, I don't like doing dishes, so I try not to dirty up a ton of dishes. So I don't really know why I had two potato mashers, but in this case, a fork works just fine. If I didn't have a fork, I certainly have my mixer that I can put in my beaters and kind of whip up those mashed potatoes. So those are some of the questions I've been asking myself. And the fourth thing that I really honestly regret, and this is maybe one of the biggest things, is I didn't think through the organization of an area. So if I have to go out of town or something, or if I'm not around for some reason, does my organization make sense to whomever has to step in and take care of my kiddo or help out my husband, or even just does it make sense to my husband? Can he find the things that he needs? I kind of decluttered almost in a vacuum because, like, again, for instance, in the kitchen, I'm the one who primarily cooks. My husband can cook, but he does so many other things. He generally doesn't cook. I kind of just take that. And so when I was doing the kitchen, I organized it in a way that made sense to me, but it has become very evident that some of my organizational choices maybe don't make sense to everybody. So my husband and I are working together to kind of go around and redo some of the things I organized or just make them a little more intuitive as to where we would find them. For example, I always put, and I don't know why I do this, I always put our box grater inside of my metal colander. I don't really know why, just in my mind, those two things go together. But in my husband's mind, and completely logical, might I add, he thinks that they should have been up with some of the other kitchen tools like our glass measuring cups or something like that. So the first time I couldn't find my box grater, I went crazy because I was like, I know I put it down here with my colander. Where is it? And then I realized that my husband had emptied the dishwasher and I had washed it in there. And when he was putting it up, he put where he thought it should go. And so I reminded him where I put it and he moved it back down there. Well, then it happened a couple of more times. And what I realized was to my husband, up with the measuring cups, the measuring spoons, things like that, that's where the box grater should have gone. And so now, guess what? That's where the box grater lives because it makes sense to him and I can easily make it make sense to me. Just for whatever reason, I had always put it with the colander. And so I've begun to solicit some input, especially right now, because we're trying to teach our kiddo some kitchen life skills. And so I've been soliciting more feedback from my husband and our kiddo to determine what makes sense for the family, because obviously it's not just my kitchen, we're all in there. So that is one of the things that I've really been working on. And then the other thing is, going along with the organization, is not having a plan in place to maintain those areas, not having a schedule, because I know for my brain, I work better with a schedule. So because I didn't have a set schedule, some of the places I've already decluttered are just catching things again, and I'm going to have to go back and clean them up. So what I did was I sat down and I thought through things, and I like pretty things, right? So I made a pretty cleaning schedule. So for like on Mondays, I'm going to work on the outsides. That means wiping down the patio furniture. And I literally put, I don't know if you can see that, I literally put checklists for each thing that I would do on those days. So for Tuesday, kitchen and dining, Wednesday, bathrooms, Thursday, living room and hallways. Now, this is important for a couple of reasons. One, it tells me what I need to do every day. The second thing it tells me is on the weekends, what are some extra things that probably need attention? And then these are the things right here that need to get done every day. And it's like, take out the trash, wipe down the countertops. It's stuff that to most people, probably they don't need a list to tell them to take out the trash or wipe down the countertops. But what happens in my brain is I will get so focused on something else. Kiddo will want to play Play-Doh and I'll forget. Or we'll have a harder day in homeschooling than we normally have and I'll get sidetracked. Or we've got a doctor's appointment and I just don't even think about, washing and folding and putting away the laundry or whatever it is, watering the plants. And so I made sure to put down the everyday stuff, and then I made sure to put down on this list the monthly stuff. And I'm pretty sure that, well, I'm not going to say I'm pretty sure. I hope that by doing this, it'll make it easier for me to stick to my schedule because whew, it gets a little crazy. But the other thing is again, if I'm out of town for some reason, or if I'm not available, or if I'm sick or whatever, my husband can step in and he can see what needs to be done. What do we need to do every day? Can we let the living room go for this week and maybe catch up next week or whatever? So I'm glad that I've now put together that list with the checklist, and I'm slowly working on implementing it. It's a little hard. I'm probably going to have to refine it a few times to get a good flow, but this is what's working. You know what? I'm actually going to add a sixth bonus item. One of the things that I definitely regret is to just, I wasn't asking for help. I've, as I'm going through this process of making our house into a beautiful home, not just a functioning house, but a beautiful home, I realized that I was taking on too much. Now, understand, let me just put this out here right now. My husband, huge help. He will often ask if he can help, or he'll say, "Hey, I'm going to go clean the kitchen." I'm like, "No, no, 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 I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I will clean the kitchen." Or he'll say, "Hey, I'm going to go tackle the bathrooms." "No, no, no, no. I got it, babe. I got it. You work outside the home. I'm going to take care of this house. I've got it." But the problem is I don't have it. And then what happens is I get stressed because things are piling up when I had somebody willing to do it. And there are a lot of times he's like, "No, babe, I'm doing it." I'm like, "Okay, fine." But instead of just taking on everything, I need to get better about asking for help. And one of the reasons is as a lot of you know, our kiddo has had some big medical issues since January. Well, he's had them pretty much all of his life, but since January, things have gotten a bit more hectic. And so, because things have gotten a bit more hectic, um, the house isn't getting tidied as much as it needs to. Again, I didn't have a list or a checklist or anything to go by, so things were getting missed. And the other thing is I have just recently burned out because I was taking on everything. I'm the main caregiver for our child. I'm the homeschool mom. You know, I stay at home mom. I do all the things. And what's happened is I can't do all the things. I absolutely cannot do everything. And so I am learning to ask for help. Now, I still really feel guilty asking for help. I'm gonna be honest. I'm like, "Oh, I should be able to do this. I'm mom." Come on, we've all been told all of our lives we're women, we can do everything. And I'm firmly in the belief that we can probably do pretty much everything, but we can't do it all at once. And that's important. We have to learn when to ask for help, when to let things go, because maybe they're not as important as they need to be. Or, we just don't have the mental capacity at that moment to deal with something. And I think a lot of times it's so ingrained in us that we've got to do it, we've got to do it, we've got to do it, it has to be done, that we just don't take the time to step back and go, "You know what, I can't do all of this. I want to do all of this. I can't do it." And so I'm learning to ask for help. It is very hard. So those are my 5 regrets with a bonus sixth one. But here are 5 things that I'm going to do moving forward. And these are pretty quick things. I'm going to finish a room to completion. So when I go in that room, I am going to declutter it and I am going to clean it because I don't want to have to keep going back and decluttering the same rooms over and over again. I've already planned a schedule for maintaining those rooms. I just showed you that schedule. So that is definitely one of the things that going forward I'm changing. I'm getting my family on board and I'm assigning some tasks. Again, asking for help. But this kind of goes along again, but I've learned with my kiddo, if I can like make it into a game, he's more willing to help. He's more excited to help. "Hey, I need your help for 5 minutes. Let's see who can pick up more magnetic sticks, you or me." Or, "I bet I can pick up more blocks than you can." Or, something like that. I make it into a competition, and my child thrives on competition. So he gets really excited and then he just wants to see if he can beat mom. And bonus, I'm getting him to help with some of the chores. And I'm also going to be extremely mindful of what comes into our home. And I'm really kicking around in May doing a no spend month. I've heard people do these. I've never done them. And basically, what a no spend month entails, from what I gather, is that other than like groceries and absolute necessities. So, like some of my kid has some special foods that he has to have, some special supplements and things like that he has to have. So obviously that's a necessity. I would definitely do that. But I wouldn't buy something just because it popped into my brain. And yes, it would be helpful for our house, but I'm going to see how it goes in May. I've watched a bunch of videos. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I've watched a bunch of videos and on no spend months, and I'm really intrigued because it really makes you think, what is really essential? And would I buy this if it wasn't on sale, or if it hadn't just randomly popped into my brain, or if I hadn't seen it on Amazon? So, in fact, I probably, for no spend, I will completely avoid the Amazon website at all costs, because sometimes things will pop onto there. So I'm definitely going to be more mindful of what I'm bringing in. And I'm really thinking about in May, which I better make that decision soon because it's like 2 days away. I'm really thinking about doing a no spend a month. So I'm going to keep you up to date on that. And then the last thing is, I'm really, again, we kind of talked about this before. I'm going to take the time to think through how my family uses a space. Meaning, for like our dining room, we have a very lovely dining room, and I know because I just redid it. But do we really need a formal dining room, or can we eat at the bar and then make our formal dining room into something different or more fun? Because most of our meals are eaten at the bar. I'm going to be honest. Look, I think plastic plates are fine china, and I'm not a formal dining person. I'm not. But like most houses, we have a formal dining room. So I'm really contemplating, seeing what we can do in our living room. Is our living room set up to be conducive to how our family would utilize our living room? Do I need to move things around, or, things like that? I just want to make sure that it works for our family, and that it just doesn't get completely out of control, or that we're not just using a space for a purpose because we think that's the purpose it should be, like the dining room. We just think that should be a dining room. So I don't know. We'll figure that one out. But so I wanted to give a quick life update. I did not post a video earlier this week. Two reasons. One, kiddo's having a bit of a rougher week, so a lot of my energy is going towards dealing with that. And the second thing is I recently went to the doctor. As some of you know, I've mentioned this on a couple of videos. I am a long hauler from that blessed curse of 2020. And so we're like 3 years out now, right? I am undergoing some testing to see if we can fix some of the lingering issues. And one of the lingering issues that I've had since that event is that my blood sugar has been a bit wonky, but it's still been in a manageable, as far as A1C, that's still been in a manageable area. But recently it has gotten not as manageable. And so I am working on eating differently, and that's gotten me a bit grouchy. Although I'm feeling better, so that's good. And I'm just trying to learn how to navigate this. Now, I am not diabetic. I'm doing everything in my power to not be diabetic, because I can never die. I've got to live a very long time because of medically complex kid. So I have to be at the top of my game, and I am currently not at the top of my game. So I'm learning how to make some new recipes. I'm learning how to make some healthier choices, but I'm also learning how to slow down and conserve energy, because what's happening is, again, that not asking for help thing, that doing all the things. Um, it's wearing me out. I'm not doing well on that front. So that is another reason why I'm learning to ask for help and learning to delegate. But yeah, so that is what's going on in our life. Still will be posting videos, hopefully on Wednesdays and Saturdays. That is my plan. But I'm still going through some testing, so we will see how that goes. I lost my comments. I had my comments up so I could see where everything was, and now I don't have my comments up anymore. So hold on, pull them up on the computer because that will just be easier, right? I think so. Okay. And yeah. So let's see. So Jay West says she's an empty nester and finally bought some dishes that she wants and gave away my china. You go, girl. I like that idea. Vicky says she's an empty nester and has been decluttering for quite a while. I'm trying to get rid of anything that I know my sons will not want when I'm gone. Yes, absolutely. So on that, Vicky, I agree completely because from our particular situation, it is unlikely that we will have anyone to leave our stuff to. So I'm keeping some things that I know for sure that I would want my son to have in the event of our untimely departure. Hopefully that's a ways down the way. Some things, but I don't think he's going to want, all of his Play-Doh drawings or all of his random paintings that, kids just do. I'm scanning a lot of those in. I'm going to make a little book kind of thing for my kiddo so that he can still see them in the future if he wants to, but he just won't have them because all that does is then I have to keep up with it. And I don't really think he's going to want it. He's not going to place the same value on things that I place, and I know that for sure. Let's see. A no spend, yes, a no spend month is going to be intriguing. I'm 99% sure May is going to be a no spend month. That's going to get a little dicey towards the end of May because we've got some things going on. But I think if I plan it right, it won't be an issue. Oh, Anna, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope everything goes well for you too, because it can get a little crazy up in this place. You've been doing a no spend year? Whoa, how is that going? You did one in 2020 and you saved money. That right there, I love saving money. So yeah, okay. I think I'm into it. Look, I'm officially announcing this. I haven't even talked to my husband about it. So probably shouldn't officially announce it. Okay, for me, because my husband's an adult, he can do what he wants. But for me, I personally am going to do a no spend month for May. Yeah, I'm excited. So, oh, I didn't know your name was Jen. Sorry, I'm just always like, oh, hey, Jay West is leaving a comment. I love all my commenters. I'm gonna be honest, I do. But your name is Jen. Cool. I can stop calling you Jay West, and I'm gonna be like, my girl Jen, she's leaving me a sweet comment because you too leave the sweetest comments. I love it. So yeah, that is what is going on in my life and my 5 regrets for my decluttering journey. So I am not an expert on decluttering at all, clearly. But if somebody watches this and it helps them in just some way think through their process, maybe a little bit more than I thought through mine, I'm going to try and save somebody some heartache because, yeah, I really wish I had thought through what I did before I did it or thought through a process, even realizing that it might have to change and adapt. But I just kind of dove in like I do with everything else. And yeah, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. Now, the good thing is I to this point, I have not decluttered anything that I've actually regretted getting rid of. Yes, the basket made me sad, but I don't regret getting rid of it. So far, I haven't regretted anything that has left my house. My journey is still young though, so that might happen, but hopefully not because, yeah, so. Well, I actually went over, I said I would spend 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. I spent 35 minutes because I just ramble and I love you guys. But my kiddo is actually at a kids night out event and I gotta go pick him up. So I definitely have a hard stop. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I had a blast. I'm really thinking this live thing's kind of fun. Thinking I might do a live thing like once a month and just kind of check in and chat and, stuff. So anyway, all right, bye guys. It was fun.